Hello and welcome to the Creatives Off the Clock podcast. I am your host, Stephanie Whitehouse of SPW Design Media. Whether you are a creative person on or off the clock, we are so much more than what we create. On this podcast, I lift up stories, experiences, and passions of folks in our creative community and really dive into what caring and cultivating space for our creative self looks like. Thank you so much for listening. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am so excited to share this space and this time with one of my good friends, Sarah. If you'd like to introduce yourself, let the people know who you are.
Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm so excited to be talking with you today, Steph. I have a digital marketing business called Ink and Olive Media, in which I do social media and email marketing, mostly within the real estate industry, but work with different service-based businesses.
Yes, literally, I've been following Ink and Olive for how long has it been now, actually?
3
years?
4 years. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
5 years.
So you broke out on your own to pursue this amazing dream. We knew each other from working in a real estate team back in Northern Virginia when we were both in the same state. We are no longer. So I just think it's crazy how we're both kind of pursuing the same thing in a way in different states in totally different niches.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I just realized, I think we worked for that real estate team in 2013. So we've known each other for 10 years.
Is that right? What the heck? Oh my gosh.
That's wild.
And we don't have matching tattoos yet.
Okay. I'm down. Put that on the list for us.
Yeah, so I've got one with my best friend also, but I've known her since middle school for sure. So that is insane, and time is not real. So that is wow. But even when I feel like when I knew you then, you were just like also a kindred creative spirit, and like sure you were also doing, social media marketing at the time. But I just want to know, like, what lights you up? We're on the first cup of coffee, everybody. It is 7:30 in my time zone. What lights you up creative wise?
Yeah, I mean, different things over the years. What lights me up creative wise? I think with my business, the thing I get most excited about, so my recurring clients are social media management clients. But what I love doing most is the strategy, which I feel like is the most creative thing, like out of the box thinking, what can we be doing differently than other people in our niche? How can we be reaching our ideal clients? Planning campaigns. So I feel like the strategy is what really lights me up in my business anyway, and for my clients. And then for myself, there's such a big difference between the work we do for our clients versus ourselves, right? Like it's always so much easier. The client work is always going to get done, right? Like it has to, or you're not going to get paid and it's going to affect your reputation. So
yeah.
Always going to get done. It's so much harder to focus on things for your business. But I do love creating reels and creating like that content for my business as well.
Yes, absolutely. I love that you say that the strategy part is what lights you up, because I have a deep appreciation for people who can go in with strategy and make it like they are so good with strategy. They love it and they lift it up. And that in my heart feels like something that I'm not committed to. So it almost lights me up in a way to see someone be like, oh, well, this is the thing and you need to do the thing so you can do the other things. So that's amazing. I do appreciate that. And I wish I had the same fire for strategy that you do.
I mean, we all it's a grass is always greener thing, right?
Mm,
Like, plenty of things about you, especially your creativity, that I wish that I had. So, and that's really cool. Like that we're all so different. It would be a pretty lame and boring world if we were all the
that
same.
is true. That is
Nothing
true.
would ever get done.
And it takes a village. So, like, I know that if I had a limitless budget and I needed to make my team a certain way, I would add, like, I would get like the best person at everything. I wouldn't want someone who's just like a duplicate of me. Though sometimes I wish I could duplicate myself and put myself on the team.
Yeah, for sure. I actually, my newest client that I'm working with, I'm like, try to be super clear with expectations whenever I start with a client that I don't actually create most of the content, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're the expert, you're the boots on the ground, you're the one, especially within the real estate industry,
Mm-hmm.
appointments, meeting with buyers and sellers. And so I'm not going to be taking those photos and recording those videos because I'm not there.
Mm-hmm.
So just being very clear about like those expectations that I provide the strategy and I'll coach you through what to create, but like you really need to be able to send me those assets. And my most recent client I've started working with, I actually have a point of contact at their office who is creating the content. Like that's what he does.
Mm-hmm.
He's just incredible. Like he is such a talented videographer and content creator. I feel so lucky that I get to work with him. And I feel like we're learning a lot from each other too. So it's really great to, have different people to rely on for their expertise and be willing to learn from each other. Like we actually had a conversation yesterday. I had some questions about a video he sent over and wanted some changes. And then when we talked through it, I was like, no, like, you're right. You're the expert at this. You know this, like, we'll keep it as it is. And I just feel super lucky to be able to have those conversations and learn from him.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to back it up here because I know that we are very creative-minded individuals, also business-minded individuals. And that being said, it's not all business all the time. And that's actually one of the reasons I started this podcast, was to just like connect with individuals about, sure, what we do for our work and how we move through the world is so important, but also just like the stuff that's not necessarily our work is also super interesting to explore. So I just want to ask, what do you have a recollection of your first creative memory?
So you sent me a couple questions ahead that really stumped me. And I'm trying to think. It honestly scares me how bad my memory is. And
Relatable.
I think one of the reasons for my poor memory is because my family moved around a lot growing up. So like you're talking about your friend that you've had since middle school, like I love that so much. And I honestly get jealous of people who have had these friends for ages because, again, like I moved around a lot. My best friend is like the most amazing person in the world, and I love her to death. Shout out Alex. But like we've really only known each other for 6 years, which is wild. But oh my gosh, tangents. So I kind of blame my poor memory on the fact that I've moved around so much that I don't have people from certain times in my life that like I stay in close touch with. One of my earliest memories in general, oh my gosh, I was just such a little shit when I was little.
Weren't we all?
One of my earliest memories was in preschool, and I had these like smelly markers that I wouldn't share. And so the teacher took them from me and I got really upset. And so maybe we can consider that a creative memory since I was playing with markers.
I mean, all the sensory stuff is there. You got the smell, you got the emotion, the anger, the core memory right there.
Oh my gosh, my brain is so all over the place right now. I apologize.
That is okay. I mean, that's part of it. I try not to go into these conversations with too much of a plan just because I find that a lot of the times there will just be, some interesting thing that comes out and, we just kind of stick on it for a second. So, I do because there's such an interplay between like our creative lives and also what we do. I am curious a little bit about the Ink and Olive origin story. So like how you got here and then I guess how your creative practices and passions gel currently with what you do now.
Yeah. So my background is social media, and people always ask me if that's what I went to school for. And no, because social media marketing wasn't a career when I was in college.
Mm.
Um, but before starting my own business, I was doing social media for a real estate brokerage office. And I really wanted to start my own business and be able to serve clients while working from anywhere in the world. I love to travel. And so I just really wanted that flexibility. So um, I do realize how privileged I am. My brother-in-law has his own digital marketing business, so I've had him as a mentor. Um, I have parents that I knew that if things didn't work out or I got in any trouble, like they wouldn't let me be homeless or go hungry. So I definitely, and I had a couple of clients from my real estate experience, the real estate office I was working in, had a couple of clients already before I officially quit my 9 to 5. So I was just really privileged and set up for success from the beginning. And I definitely realized that, and I'm super grateful for that. And yeah, I've been going for about 5 years now. And in terms of the name Ink and Olive, I was like thinking about a name and I wanted it to be perfect. And it was really holding me up from actually doing the work. So I just was like, okay, I need to pick something. This is getting ridiculous. So Ink and Olive. Ink is like, how marketing started, like print, everything printed in ink. And then olive is like the finishing touch, the garnish, what makes it pretty. So ink and olive, it's we get the job done and make it pretty.
I've been in and around and witnessing you like thriving in business for literally 4 to 5 years now and never knew that. That is amazing. I love that. Because I know you just went through a bit of a rebrand, right? And to have that concise little like beginning and finish, that's beautiful. I appreciated that.
Thank you. Yeah, I rebranded. It's crazy. That was already about a year ago that I went through a rebrand. And yeah, I'm very happy with how things are going and looking right now, although my website is in desperate need of a refresh. So that's a creative endeavor that's on the radar for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned decision paralysis. I feel like that happens a lot with multi-talented, passionate individuals. Like we have this very specific idea of what we want in our head, and then we'll just spend a lot of time trying to get there or like kind of putzing around it until we like just finally go through and just do the thing. Oh, so I feel you there.
For sure. Like I definitely struggle with analysis paralysis. Like
that's the word.
I think a lot of people do. It's like when you have so many things you need to do that you end up doing nothing. Mm-hmm. So I have to constantly remind myself of the end goal and then like working backwards. It's like when you give a mouse a cookie. I know I want to get this done, so I need to get this done first. But like really, okay, let yourself go through that process and figure out, like, just keep backing up. What's the number one most important actionable thing you can do right now to work toward your goal? So I am constantly having to remind myself of that and just like keeping up with the little things, and things one step at a time.
For sure. That's really hard for me, I think. That's Because I can mentally know that that is a proven and great approach to start any project. And still, then again, I think that's, that's sometimes where like the executive function will fail me a little bit. So like also just having like grace and patience with yourself, or at least for me, to be able to be like, oh, I'm going to go through this phase of analysis paralysis about 3 times before I actually get started. That's fine, as long as I actually like will start something later down the line. So that's a really
Well,
good way to say that.
2 things about that. First of all, I love how you said give yourself grace, because I think that is so important and something that I'm working on and having to do for myself as well. Just because I had big plans for my next project that I've been working on. And then with starting with this new client these past couple months, it's been a lot of work and taking up a lot of my time, which I'm fine with because I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Have to give myself grace and be like, okay, well, it's all right that I haven't gotten this other project done, because I'm loving what I'm doing, and it's just going to take time to get used to these new processes and managing my time.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree that's important to be realistic and give ourselves grace. And then the other thing is, when you're going through that, call me. Like I love you so much, and like I do love the strategy and thinking through and coming up with plans. So like, I so appreciate having you and someone else in the creative space to talk to, that I want to be resources for each other.
For sure. Careful, I'm gonna hire you.
Dude, I would
Folks.
say so.
No, she gets the job done, guys. So watch out. So I guess you already touched on strategy about being a favorite thing that you do now, but do you have any other thing that is within the realm of anything that you're working on that is your favorite?
Anything that I'm working on in my life?
And it could be anything. Yeah, it really could. Or you could break it down into like work and life.
Well, should we talk about travel? Like,
we should talk about travel, because yes, I'm so overdue.
Just always planning the next trip, and oh man, the wanderlust is just so real. The world is too big to sit still, and I want to go everywhere.
Am I going to make that a bumper sticker? Maybe.
Oh my gosh, please do, and then send me one so I can put it on my computer.
Literally, I think so my birthday's coming up this month. It's birthday month, 3 days in. And I've just, like, Colorado's cold. We've been getting a lot of snow. Apparently, March is supposed to be the snowiest time of the year. In December, I would have vibed with that, not necessarily vibing with that now, and really want to go somewhere warm. So I am taking recommendations because this is unreal.
Well, my friend from college and I were just in Mexico in January for a week. Oh my gosh, do you want to hear a small world story?
I do want to hear a small world story.
Okay. So I went to UC Irvine for college in Southern California, and my friend Jill and I went to the same school, but we didn't meet until we were studying abroad in England. Went to Cambridge for a summer, and then we just got to be really close friends. After college, she moved to Arizona and met her now husband, who happens to be from the same town I live in, Virginia.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So they used to come out here every year for Thanksgiving, and I would get to see her. And they haven't been out since COVID and have since moved to Washington State. But like, how wild is that?
Yeah. I love that. The intricacies, the crossing paths, like they're the ships in the night. That's happened too many times, I feel like, over the past year for me.
It's just crazy. But so she lives in Washington State now, where it's very cold. And I had texted her like a couple months ago, like, hey, do you want to meet up in London? And she was like, no. But warm. So we ended up meeting up in Cancun, and it was fantastic.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
I'll send you the resort we stayed at. I highly recommend.
I have a few weeks. I have a few weeks. I can pull an itinerary together. That's also one thing. I do like planning, not necessarily getting myself to sit down and do it, but once I'm in it, I'm like, oh, yes, absolutely. I will make this checklist. I will do this thing. I will, I just like creative visioning. I think that's also something that
I
is.
love planning and getting excited. Like I make
Mhm.
spreadsheets when I'm going to, like I was just in Lisbon for a month in the fall and I had a spreadsheet that I made of like restaurants and different just like places to see. And once I'm there, like, yeah, I would reference it, but I'm really not that type A when I get there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
be able to just
Go
do
with the
it
flow.
and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
meet people and
Yeah, like those people. I think you had mentioned a story to me. Like you met these two guys who were like, were they twins or something like that, or like brothers, and then they just like spontaneously decided on an adventure, and you're like, okay, and that's what I feel like I do on trips like that. So yeah, you gotta like maybe create the container for the thing, but just like have the space to kind of move around and be flexible, and that's something that's carried over into my creative work for sure.
yeah, I think the planning is just more like to get excited.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah,
Yes,
like
absolutely.
my first day that I was in Lisbon, yeah, I met this group of Germans who were
Oh,
staying
yes.
B&B a couple doors down from me, and I hung out with them like the whole time they were there. And they kept inviting me to Germany, and I was like, "Well, don't say that if you don't mean it, because I will come." And then ended up going and staying with them for a week before I flew back home.
Literally the best.
It was amazing. So, do you have any travel plans coming up, or you're thinking about planning somewhere warm?
I just want to plan somewhere warm. Yeah, I think I want to do a big travel, but after the move, I fun fact, I'm still in Colorado, friends. I just moved 20 minutes away from where I was, but after the move and just like getting my life kind of reorganized, I have like put the brakes on doing any big plans or anything like that, and I feel like I'm waiting until I'm quote more established to do some things, but also I know that like I will never feel fully established probably. So I want to do the thing now. So as long as I can get out, before May, do something before May, I feel like that's a realistic timeline, but I'm just looking ahead. It could be delayed. I was also in La Jolla, California around, this time for my birthday last year. So it's the body memory is hitting pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like May is a good realistic goal. And next time you come out to the DC area, obviously let me know.
Which may be soon actually. So, fun fact, when you book a hotel and then the people try to get you on the line to like sign you up for the timeshare at the resorts kind of thing. I took the bait actually, and I have to plan my next stay in DC before April. So, I probably will make it back to the DC area actually before May because otherwise I've wasted $250 for 4 nights though. I will say it's
Oh,
not
yeah,
that's not bad.
that's not bad. Let's
So
go on
yeah,
adventures.
yes, and I know that the cherry blossoms are like going to start happening end of March, early April. So
I
we'll have
think
to
I saw
see.
that they already are. It's
They
like
already it gets early and earlier every year.
I know because it's been like crazy warm weather here and there, and like
That I'm
global.
like happy but like concerned for the cherry blossoms, just concerned for the world's health in general.
Yeah, agreed.
So, I have another question on my little list of questions. What is something that maybe you struggle with in the realm of creativity?
Uh, that's a great question. So I think with writing, I have
Mm.
always been a writer.
Mm.
Deep down, I do love to write. And
Mhm.
once I finished writing something, I'm usually pretty excited about it. I just get so in my head, though, and the whole analysis paralysis, and then I just end up not doing it. Like I even had been struggling with getting my newsletters out.
Mm.
And so my business was nominated for Best of Loudon
Yes.
in
Woohoo.
the marketing PR category. So I was like, well, shoot, I want to email my sphere about this and like ask them to vote, but I don't want my first email in months to be asking them to do something for me. So
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I need
Man.
to get a couple newsletters out before I ask this of them. So I did put some stuff together and did end up getting a couple out, but like I really had to like force myself to do it and
Mm-hmm.
kind of like I kind of fell off track with that. But
Mm.
I have been pretty consistent the last couple of weeks, and so I'm going to be
Yes.
staying up with that. Um, but then even my next big project that I've kind of been hinting at is I am creating an online course. So it's going to be a self-paced online course that's all about creating your own social media marketing business.
Nice.
I feel like I have a lot of insight and experience that I can share and just really step by step actionable things people can do to start their own online digital marketing business and serve other people while also pursuing the lifestyle they want to live. So being able
Mm-hmm.
to grow a six-figure business while traveling the world, working from anywhere
Mm.
with your clients and providing a high level of service always being the number one. So the writing necessary, the content
Mm-hmm.
for that course is something that I've struggled just getting done.
Mm-hmm.
I do love to write. I feel like that knowledge and experience is in my head. I just have to
Mm-hmm.
get it down on paper and start recording that content.
Holy cow. There's like so many things I want to unpack from all of that. The first being, yes, please go vote for Ink and Olive under the Best of Loudon marketing and, as you say, PR category. It's under services. If you go to the website, it's loudonttimes.com/best. I will link it in the description, so you better go down and click on it. You do have until March 10th, so I'm trying to ramp out this episode as quick as I can because everybody is waiting with bated breath. But you can apparently vote more than once, and you can vote every day. So just come to the podcast, click on the link, and go in and make your little vote. Once you are signed in, it will kind of populate for you what your favorite categories are, that your notorious categories that you've been voting on. So that's kind of helpful when you go back to the page, especially if you're on a smartphone. So just wanted to put that in there.
Thank you.
Second thing,
Well, can I say I will send you the link for people
yes.
that takes people directly to my button
Oh
and
my gosh, yes.
possible. And then also, yes, the first round of voting goes through March 10th. And then the top 5 businesses from each category will go on to the final round of voting, which kicks off in April.
Yes. Okay, yes, please. Do all of those things. Like literally the less clicks the better. That's something I learned in college.
Yeah,
Um
the goal.
so great. We'll have that link ready for you.
I appreciate everyone who votes so much. And I'm going to be totally honest. And I realize it's silly that you can vote every day and it's just a big popularity contest. But at the end of the day, it could really help my business. So anyone who cares to vote, I really appreciate you.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll put that link in there for you. And then the second thing I think I was going to say with regards to, you have so many things that you want to write and you just feel like you want to do it. Also, that piece about I haven't sent a newsletter out to these folks, me in the ages. I have not done the same. So I feel you there. And not wanting to ask for something, I feel like that's also such a bit of like internalized like if I was a dude, I've seen a few TikToks on this. It's like I'm going to send this email as if I were a dude. And how do you embody that, like, yeah, I'm just going to say what I say and like send it, and no one gives a second thought. But like I know that I get caught in my head about being like, I want to appear approachable and friendly and not want to ask for things. And I like that is a struggle. That is struggle. Like I can understand if you haven't sent out a newsletter in forever, like I have not. And then all of a sudden I come out the gate asking for something. It feels a little icky within me, but I also know that like someone else probably is doing the same thing and didn't even think about that, which is really dissonance in my head. And I have to like hold those two things at the same time, which
Yeah.
sucks.
Well, yeah, we should all have the confidence of a mediocre white man, right?
Yes. I
I,
mean,
I love that saying.
mhm.
I think it's kind of twofold, right? Like I
Mhm.
agree we shouldn't be afraid to ask our sphere for support, but also I think the number one goal and intention should be providing value. Like
Mhm.
I'm gonna spam your inbox just to spam your inbox. I don't want to wait until I have something to sell before
Mhm.
I start emailing you. Like I really do want to provide value, share
Mhm.
my knowledge and experience, um, and send you something that you're excited to open.
Mhm.
So I do think that should always be the number one goal, so that when you do have
Mhm.
product or service, or you want to ask people to vote for something or whatever is going on, that they're like, you know what, she's done so much for me that I'm going to do this for her.
For
Or if
sure.
it's like something you're selling, like my upcoming course, like, wow, she's given me so much knowledge for free. I can only imagine what I'm going to learn when I pay for this course.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally like that is the delicate yes and of the whole thing. And it's just like I feel like it's a bit of a struggle, especially on platforms like Instagram, where, you know, I go there to consume all the time. And like there's so many things that I've learned from Instagram. And just like, you know, I also have so much appreciation and respect for people on the other side of the screen who are creating this content. And it's like I want to support them like best I can as well. So like that is the scene right now. That is the scene.
So, what's your favorite social media platform?
It really is Instagram. From 2013, I want to say, no, 2012 actually might have been my first post, you know, with the grainy filters and everyone was obsessed with like the square. It's definitely evolved as a platform. And there's definitely signs that feel like it's trying to be like other platforms, aka the Reels, TikTok parallel there. But like,
100%.
mhm. But I think my first true love was Instagram, and it is it, it is evolving in a way that makes me excited about it. And like, that is the app that I go to. Like, sure, I will force myself to go on Facebook and do the posts for clients and stuff like that. Sometimes I'll get trapped on there looking at like family updates and stuff like that. But it's like, for the most part, each social platform really has its own like vibe and what I use it for. So, but Instagram is like this little honeypot. I feel like for me, that's kind of just where I hang out.
I mean, I love that you said each platform has its own like personality and purpose and reason you go to it, right? And
Hmm.
I think as people who work in social media, that's something that we always have to keep top of mind, right? Like
Hmm.
each platform is different. You need to be sharing the content for the people who are on that platform. And even if you're going to share the same information, like sharing it in a way that will reach the appropriate people on your
Hmm.
platform. So,
Yeah, I was just talking to someone yesterday about that. How the tendency, especially with newer businesses or businesses going through a rebrand, the inclination to want to be everywhere all the time. And it's like, okay, but if your audience is mainly like people 45 and above, like we got to think about what, like, those people more than likely are not going to be on TikTok for 6 hours out of their day. Like, we have to pay attention to what platforms are actually going to be used by these folks. So, that, yeah, I totally agree there.
absolutely. And just the importance of taking things one step at a time and building something sustainable,
Mm-hmm.
getting on one platform where your ideal client is mostly spending their time and getting consistent, doing things really well, before taking on anything else.
Literally, also, you mentioned the golden word consistency and sustainability here. And I have to ask, you are working full time on your own business, you're building new things, you are traveling. So I want to know how you balance your creative endeavors while also taking care of yourself. Like, how do you practice rest and how do you return to yourself so you can avoid burnout and just generally return to the joy that you were seeking in the first place?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to be totally honest. I have plenty of time in the day. I am single. I don't have kids. Like, I have amazing friends who I love spending time with when I can and they're available. But for me, I feel like this is the opposite of what people usually say. Like, I feel like I have plenty of time in the day. But where I struggle is at 5 o'clock, my brain turns off. Like, I can't continue to, like, in the evenings, I have plenty of time, but my brain is just not in a place to be able to work on my course or write content. So I do have to be cognizant of that and know that whatever's going to take my most focus, like if I have to write or plan anything, it has to be first thing in the morning. So just being aware of how I work, how my brain works, and time blocking and prioritizing certain activities. And then in the evenings, like after work, I like to relax and recharge by reading. I love taking baths. My dad built me this bathtub caddy thing that has a slot in it for a wine glass.
Oh, that's the cutest.
That is just so nice and relaxing. I love it. And then for my health, like, I had not been consistent. Like, I love to run when it's weather and stuff, but I just haven't been consistent. And I follow this woman on Instagram, Liz Moody, and she has a podcast called Healthier Together. And I love her. She is always interviewing different health and wellness experts. And something she says all the time that is like one of the best things you can do for yourself is take circ walks. So,
what does that mean? Can you say that word again?
Circ walks. So circadian rhythm, like
your
body to, like the sun being up and down. So going on a walk, firstly, as close to when you wake up in the morning / as close to when the sun comes up.
Interesting.
And outside, letting the sun hit your face for at least 15 minutes. And I'm not the professional, and I definitely want to make sure I'm pointing people to Liz Moody for more information on that. But I've been doing that for a couple months now, just waking up. I go on a walk as soon as I wake up in the morning, just for like 30 minutes. And I feel like that has done the most for my health and honestly, like my body. Like, I feel like it's had more impact than like bigger, harder workouts I used to do.
Wow.
So just like, and I haven't been doing it on the weekends. So it's just like my routine during the work week. I wake up, now that the sun is finally coming up a little earlier, I'll wake up at like 6:40, brush my teeth, go on a walk, and then come home, eat breakfast, and get on with the rest of my day. But just having that movement, knowing I've done that first thing in the morning and having it out of the way, has been really great. It makes me feel like I'm starting the day on a productive note.
Wow. I also follow this individual as well. So that's crazy. I obviously haven't been following her closely enough, but I used to, when I was living here about a year and a half ago, I walked to work just because it was the nature of my situation and didn't have a car in the city. And so it was like a 40-minute walk and I would put in a podcast. But like, you are so right. Literally being out, moving my body in sometimes, before the sun came up, watching the sun come up every day was definitely something that I miss. And like, I'm just a ninny about the cold. So I'm just waiting for things to warm up, but I also know that I should not wait perhaps. And I just put on an extra layer and go anyway. So that is really That is a really beautiful thing. I am going to adopt this, I think. I'm going to adopt this as my child routine for the time being, I think. Thank you
And
for sharing that.
yeah, absolutely. And I never like giving unsolicited advice and being like, oh, you should do this. I just
Mm-hmm.
like sharing what has been really great for me.
For sure.
And maybe if you feel like that sounds good and it's something you want to try, awesome. But
Yeah.
when I first started adding that to my routine, I was like, oh, I'm going to do this every day. And I did it every day for I don't know how many months straight, and even on the weekends, even when it was raining. And then I got to the point where I was like, it was really gross outside one day and I wasn't feeling 100%. And I was like, I'm not going to walk today. Like, why would I do that? The whole purpose is to do it like for my mental and physical health. If it's like freezing outside, like literally freezing rain, that's not good for me. Like, why? So I maybe I have like a slightly addictive personality or just like am competitive and like to
Mm-hmm.
keep a streak. But just realizing the purpose of why I was doing it
Mm-hmm.
and going back to the whole giving myself grace.
Mm-hmm.
The other morning, I didn't sleep super well. I woke up really early and just was tired and lethargic all day. And I was like, I'm not going to walk today. Um, and that's just what I needed to do for myself that day.
For sure. And listening to your body and like honoring that. Like if something hurts like a lot, like don't push it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I'll get my cord. Um yeah, so I guess I wanted to ask you what something you are so proud of right now, because we are so much more than what we produce. It literally doesn't have to be something we're actively creating. Just wanted to know what you feel proud of.
Um, honestly, like I I feel like this is gonna sound like I'm really patting myself on the back.
That's what it's for. This is a pat yourself on the back moment.
Part of me is like, but I am proud. Okay, so this is something that I've been thinking a lot about lately.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, do I just am I actually like, oh, I don't want to sound this way? Or do I feel like I think I should be like that? You know, because I am proud of myself and I love to
Mm-hmm.
be my own horn. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
society just trains us to not
Mm-hmm.
talk about our accomplishments. So,
Yes.
you know what?
Yes,
At
yes.
that, I'm just going to say I am super proud of where my business is at. I love that I work for myself. I mean, obviously, I work for my clients and they're my
Mm-hmm.
primary. But I'm super proud of myself that my business has gotten to a point where I can be super picky about who I work with. I am so freaking lucky to have the clients that I do. I like genuinely love all of them. And because I work super closely with my clients, we have weekly calls. We're always talking about what's going on their end, what we can be creating, doing differently, doing better. So I feel really lucky to like actually like them. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just am really proud of myself. I'm a homeowner and I have lived in my condo for about 7 years now. And I just get really proud of myself and like think sometimes like this is my space.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I definitely realize I'm super privileged. Like I lived in my parents' basement for 3 years before
Mm-hmm.
I bought this place. So definitely um, I realize that there's a lot of privilege that goes along with me being where I am.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm still really proud of it, though.
Yeah, literally celebrate that. That is like both things are true. It's like, yeah, this might have taken this like obstacles here, this privilege here and everything, but I think like it's important to celebrate even wins that we think are small. Like it's not even, well, I guess it is 3 days into March, but this year has already been like really hard. And so, like, I feel you similarly. I just got acclimated to, my own space, my new space. And like, I want to celebrate that too because it's the first time in maybe 3 years that I've had my own
And
space.
that's not a small win. That's a
Yeah.
huge thing. And like, I think we should be celebrating anything and everything. Like life is hard enough as it is.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're always looking toward the next thing and the next accomplishment. And like, I don't know, like I
Mm-hmm.
want to seek more joy in every day and celebrate everything.
Absolutely.
Like otherwise, what's the point? What are we doing here?
My good friend actually out here, Catherine, she is huge into actually has her own business surrounded around ritual crafting. So like how humans can like be more mindful about crafting ritual in their lives, because literally our lives and what we do and everything that happens is like there's a difference between routine and ritual. And so like how we acknowledge these small things is like how we differentiate like day from day. So like there will be times where I'm like, wow, that last week was a blur, and it's a blur because I didn't take time to like celebrate something, honor something, put something away, just like that sort of thing. And like when the pandemic hit, like a lot of people, I graduated in 2020 from university, and like a lot of people didn't get a graduation. And there's this huge like rite of passage that wasn't acknowledged. And
Yeah.
like we all got to collectively, a lot of humans got to collectively feel what like, uh, just that time, like losses of rites of passage, and how ritual was like so important. So like celebrating wins and like helping us like acknowledge the milestones, even if, maybe to you they seem super small, or like, to other people they seem super small. Like I so on board with this, celebrating the things, because we need to. That's like as humans, how do we're meaning making creatures, like we gotta do that for each other.
What is your friend's name and their business name?
Catherine Newell. It's Catherine. Hold on. I think it's catherinenewell.com, but Catherine Newell Okoji. I actually did an episode with her. I think it was, um, wow, second episode, first episode? I can't remember. In the archives. But
Okay.
yeah, so
The first episode, because the first episode is the cat butts.
oh, it is the cat butts. Yes. Oh my gosh, it feels so long ago now. Yeah, and now this is me celebrating kind of my return into this space and just like getting settled and doing all the things. So I'm going to celebrate, the fact that I even recorded this today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll definitely have to look up Catherine. I love the sound of that, and I'll have to listen to that episode for sure.
For sure. So now I want everybody to know where they can find you online, on social, and I will, of course, link all those things in the description. But, tell the people where you are.
Yeah. So my website is inkandolivemedia.com. I am pretty much everywhere. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I have TikTok, but I don't really post. But my favorite platform is Instagram. I would love
Mm-hmm.
for people to follow me at Ink and Olive Media. And yeah, if you want to visit the link in bio there, and I'll send the link to stuff here as well. But I'm going to have a wait list for people to sign up for my starting your own social media marketing business. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I'd love to have you on the wait list.
Absolutely. I might have to actually get up on that wait list myself, because watching you do what you've done, it's really cool to see. Well, first of all, people from a distance. I can follow all these folks, and live vicariously through them and not know them and like be like, oh, that's cool. But to have someone now that I've known for, like you said, for like 10 years, literally do the thing next to me, it feels like in the virtual space, is like so empowering. And so on another level. So folks, like, she knows her shit. Like, you gotta go check it out and get on that wait list, because like we're all here to, I think dig a little deeper and find something, more meaningful for Sarah. That's like travel, the ability, the freedom, the, stability in order to do those things and live those experiences. I'm seeking the same thing. I know a lot of people are seeking the same thing. So go check it out, please. And thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for saying that. And like, I feel the same way about you. I love following what you're doing. I feel like you've done so many just like cool things, and I always want to know what you're up to. So just thank you for being you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me on this episode and sharing your time and all the cool things that you're working on. And can't wait to connect.
Absolutely. Thank you. Good chatting with
Thanks.
you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Creatives Off the Clock podcast. If you would like to continue the conversation, you can find me and more podcast content on Instagram at SPW Design Media. Henry Matisse says that creativity takes courage, so I wish you the space, time, and intention to be courageous, to be curious, and to make some creative choices. I'll see you next time.